Yesterday marked the second year death anniversary of late 14-year-old Karen Hapot Apaga, a boarding student of Premier Academy Lugbe who was raped to death. The child sexual abuse in Nigeria reaching epidemic proportions. The Sexual Violence Program organized an annual event to remember students who have tragically lost their lives due to sexual abuse in all of its forms. KAFTAN TV's correspondent Consilia Ewuzie brings us further details.
Child sexual abuse remains a grave concern in Nigeria. According to reports by UNICEF, 6 out of 10 children in Nigeria experience emotional, psychological, or sexual abuse before the age of 18, with half of them enduring physical violence as well. In commemoration of second-year death anniversary of late 14-year-old Karen Hapuch Abaha, a boarding student of Premier Academy, Lube, who was raped to death, stakeholders have emphasized the devastating consequences of such heinous acts in the society. The Men Against Rape Foundation, in collaboration with other civil society organizations, have emphasized the importance of encouraging children to speak up, assuring them that the law is on their side.
Government has failed in all sense. Government failed in protecting her. Government is failing in making sure she gets justice. So this event is for two reasons. One, to call attention to the world, to government, to the people, that the justice for Karen that we seek is still elusive because government and agencies of government, including the police, have failed us in one breath. Then two, because we know Karen was a very kind-hearted child, we would not want the fate that befell her to befall any other child. We decided to create an avenue like this that will help build knowledge base of children. They can identify would-be perpetrators, would-be pedophiles from afar, and know how to raise their voices and raise alarm to it. So two ways to immortalize her is to ensure that it never happens to any other child.
The mother of Karen Hapuch Abaha said that the rape victims in Nigeria do not receive adequate support. She encouraged children to always speak up, hoping that doing so would lead to the capture of perpetrators and contribute to a safer society.
Well, Karen, who was my daughter, died from as a result of complications from rape, and clearly the Nigerian society is hush about rape and does not really support rape victims. So, in order to arrest this menace and then see to it that children who are basically the victims of this are able to speak out and talk about it when it happens to them. This inadvertently will help arrest this and make our society a saner society. Ministry in charge of giving approvals for people to cite school or to run schools must be careful of who these approvals are issued to, because most of the private schools we find today are being run for the return on their investment. It's not really a passion to see that children are educated, it's to see that I get a good return on my investment.
Also speaking, a representative from the Sexual Violence Program, Choma Onyenucheya Oko, called for sponsorship to support individuals carrying out awareness campaigns. She also urged parents to have open conversations with their children about sexual awareness and safety.
Some of the reasons why this persists and some of the things that we need to quickly address is the slow pace of justice in cases of SGBV. Thankfully, in the FCT, the Honorable, the Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory, has designated some courts. There used to be 4 of them, I think about 6 of them now, as SGBV courts, which means that the court now realizes that there is need to prioritize intervention on matters, around SGBV. So we need to see expedited, justice delivery around that subject, such that victims are emboldened, are encouraged to speak up, and then perpetrators are deterred because of the quick dispensation of justice. As this enlightenment happens, there is need for support and sponsorship to such organizations and individuals that carry out this enlightenment, so that they will permeate even the grassroots. They will be able to take this message all over. It's important that we inculcate age appropriate sex education into the school curriculum so that children are educated. It doesn't make them lose their innocence at all, no, but it will help them to be able to identify red flags. It will help them identify things to guard against, things to run away from, and it will encourage them on when they need to speak up, on what they need to speak up about.
Students were given the opportunity to express their views and opinions on the issue of sexual violence. They shared their experiences, suggestions for combating the pervasive problem.
For me, sex education to be taught to both female and male children is important for people to know, because men are the head of the families. The children are the future of Nigeria. We as men should teach our children to know their rights from their left, to know their rights from their wrong, teaching them everything they need to know about sex education, sex life, schools, education. That's generally it.
We are trying to provide a secured nation for our upcoming generation where they can live and stay securely in their country. We want to build a nation where other people from other nations of the world would come and abide in, because our country will be free of rape. We want to provide also justice for the victims who have been molested or harassed. We need to fight for their rights.
The commemoration organized by the Sexual Violence Program sheds light on the distressing prevalence of child sexual abuse in Nigeria. It serves as a call to action for individuals, communities, and the government to work together to create a safer environment for the children.